2, 1, go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're here at Balance Patch for our second Overwatch tournament. We have Rogers Warmers versus the new Spicy Boys. Joining the game here on, you know what? Rialto is a rude start. Let's play. Ian, what do you think?
You had Gibraltar up earlier. I think it's a very good start if this
All
isn't a
right.
situation where the teams choose the maps.
And Gibraltar solid. No, we're kind of playing RNGs ourselves in terms of map choices here.
All right, dealer's choice. I like it.
All right, so without further ado, game on. All right, now, very exciting players to watch. It looks like we do have a top 500 here. That would be the team captain for the new Spicy Boys. They're our red team. And it's looking like, let's see, who's starting on offense here? Red starts on offense, obviously.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a high octane match. There's a lot of really high SR on both teams. That being said, SR doesn't always select the outcome in games, in LAN tournaments, or even online tournaments. It does come down to teamwork, how well you know each other, and just a lot of stuff like game sense. That's all much more important than solo queue expertise. That being
Absolutely.
said, the Spicy Boys are all from Northeastern University, so hopefully they have that camaraderie down.
Absolutely. And, again, what it comes down to at the end of the day is going to be adaptability. You can have the best players on both teams, the greatest teamwork, as you were saying, but the ability to respond to change is what, at the end of the day, makes the biggest difference.
Yep. Now, Rogers Warmers are rolling out. They're going to have an interesting tank composition, Gluttony on the Orisa and Vitamin D3 on the Diva. It's a little niche, but it's very powerful in its defensive capabilities. Orisa has that 800 health barrier every 8 seconds or so, and Diva, when the barrier falls down, can pull up Defense Matrix. So that's going to be very strong in a defensive way. They're going to have Hey Jorge and the Goatsman on the DPS, both hit scan and projectile. Meanwhile, Water Bottle and Hero Sandwich are going to be healing up everybody, making sure that they can get the work done.
Now, what do you think about the lineup for the new Spicy Boys here? The Doomfist, I feel, is an interesting choice.
Yeah, it's definitely a bold move. I don't know if that's what they'll stick with, but uh, throwing in a Doomfist just randomly can honestly get you really good results, and I always love watching Doomfist. So let's see what Matt takes with this. They're going to run a dive comp, and Gibraltar is one of the maps where you can still run that. And the fight is already commencing on this high ground. Matt's already in there and took down Zenyatta. Water Bottle is going to go back to the spawn room. Might get rezzed up, but now there's Winston on the point. Torbjorn the Winston. Rez does come out, though, and Torbjorn goes down. So does Oh Yeah Dude. So this is going to be a nice pickup and defense from Gluttony. Although Matt's still causing some trouble. He's going to force Hero Sandwich to go respawn, which is going to be a while before they actually have their main heals.
And things are moving quickly here, having some difficulty getting in the swing of the camera.
In any case, the reinforcements from Rogers Warmers, from Spicy Boys have arrived, and the Rogers Warmers are going to have to walk back a little bit.
Yep.
And now there's a Doomfist in their space. That's going to cause even more problems, but he's just going to retreat to the safety of his team. There hasn't really been a
Looking like
good
they've got a hit on the
solidification.
Orisa there. Got some momentum on the payload. That's the ult from their soldier. And shut down.
Yeah, but the payload is still moving forward, like you said, and there isn't really a time where Rogers Warmers are able to recollect themselves. This fight has been so back and forth, just reinforcements trickling in from both sides. It's been a very elongated team fight, but eventually, due to the spawn advantage, it does look like Rogers Warmers are going to be able to hold on to this for a little bit longer.
It seems like it. And also, you got to remember this is a very difficult point to push, just in terms of, the spawn walking, everything like that. Oftentimes things flow through no problem and then run into a stall right here at this point.
Supercharger came out, but it wasn't really in an optimal position or timing, so that ult's not going to get anything. But there's going to be a visor up top from Valiant. It's going to get Water Bottle. He's going to go down. Defense Matrix blocked all it could, but Vitamin D's mech and the Diva pilot herself could only last so long. And now the swarm of Spicy Boys are coming in. It's looking like a nice ramen on this payload. Now they're going in, trying to get any bad spawns. Poor Vitamin D3 is not going to be able to make it. Somehow ended up on the bridge, but Matt got that clean up real quick. No longer on the Doomfist, far as a much safer choice. Meanwhile, the Goatsman has switched over to Reaper. I don't know how I feel about that, because while it does help against Orisa and dive tanks, I think maybe putting that character on a Brigitte to have the armor and make sure that you can't get dove might be more efficient.
We do need to make a quick technical adjustment. Apparently, we don't have game audio going out through the screen. Anyway, we're back here in our commentating booth moving forward. Ian, if you could keep going with the in-game commentary as we make these adjustments here.
Absolutely, Matt just let it rip. Didn't get much out of that ult though, but did cause some space to be created. There's going to be a visor from both soldiers, but Valiant's going to get more from it. And Spicy Boys are going to continue pushing this forward. It's not going to look like a defense at phase 2, and there's more bad spawns. This just keeps happening to Rogers Warmers. It's unfortunate, because not only is Gluttony stuck out here, but Hero Sandwich got caught out as well.
Oh, wow.
That's going to get 2 late picks.
Move forward.
Yeah, this is a very aggressive hold, which is creating space for the payload to move forward. You only need 1 or 2 people on the payload to keep it moving, while the rest of the team, the tanks and the DPS and one of the healers, can go up and create the space that's necessary.
And it looks like they're doing a great job of it.
Absolutely, they're moving forward. Ults are looking not too great. On either side, really. We're going to have both support ults from Rogers Warmers, but that's kind of it. We're going to have a Supercharger as well, but they need to make sure that these ults count. Valkyrie and Supercharger can be very good in their offensive capabilities, as well as the Valkyrie's defense and healing, but they need to get to the payload and stop it. They keep backing up and allowing Spicy Boys to make this space. Goatsman's going to go down early, and that's going to put Spicy Boys in the lead, especially taking down Gluttony's Supercharger. Goatsman is going to get brought back up, but it's still not looking super great. Now that is absolutely what the plan was. Go up. You don't want to be in a position where the enemy team has the advantage as far as positioning. So even if you have to get off the payload for a little bit, as long as you can convert positioning into a team fight win, you can get that payload to the end. Which is how we saw Spicy Boys take the point with 3 minutes left. That is no easy feat on Gibraltar.
Absolutely. All right, so turning around, if you were the Spicy Boys, how would you approach playing defense? I mean, you've seen what Rogers Warmers are running. You've seen the way they play together. What do you think is the move here going into the second round?
Well, we did see them play dive before with an Orisa, but it does look like they're going to convert to a full dive with the Doomfist, and I think that can be very powerful. Their communication and teamwork seems to be very good. So if they can find some targets and just take them out one by one, especially with the little spread out positioning from Rogers Warmers, I think that's going to be a very good offensive defense.
And we see, again, running with that Doomfist. Except for Valiant moved from Genji over to Widow.
Yeah, especially first phase, Widow is so good. There's so many long sight lines. Widow can actually snipe from the balcony at the end of the first phase and still have such long range. And then Matt can really just do whatever he wants. Right now he's kind of floating on a roof.
Well, I mean, he's wishing for a fisting.
Yeah, meanwhile, the offense is going to be dive with Pharah. It's really interesting to see both of these dives come out. But like I said, Gibraltar is a little bit off meta this season. So we're going to see less Brigitte just because she can't get up to that high ground. Although we see a switch to Roadhog, so I'm not sure what the plan is for Rogers Warmers.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how things develop. Coming out of the game, it looks like
It looks like they're biding their time, waiting for their entrance, and also making some space so that Valiant can line up some headshots. It's going to start getting some damage onto Goatsman, but Hero Sandwich is going to go down first thanks to Matt. Matt's going to get picked off though, so that's not going to be something that they can res, given how deep Doomfist gets in. The payload is going to move under this arch, so it depends on when the Spicy Boys want to fall down and collapse onto it. Yep, and then Water Bottle is going to get taken down by Valiant. This sniper positioning is so key, especially now that Matt is Hanzo. So if they position themselves well, this double sniper composition can cover so many angles that you really need a main tank like a Reinhardt or a Narisa, or commit to the dive. I don't like the fact that Goatsman is on Roadhog when the rest of his team is dive.
That makes sense. He's not. It seems like Roger's Moment is having trouble creating space against the double sniper.
Yeah, the problem is that Roadhog doesn't have the verticality like D.Va, doesn't have the defense matrix, so he can't help Gluttony with these dives, so Gluttony's kind of out on his own.
Taking fire, and again, you know, in terms of tank, that was Red. I'm going to be a little bit on the safe side. We don't have, you know, another tank angling that side.
Yeah, I'd like to see Vitamin D3 go with Gluttony more often. Now, they are finally making some space. Goatsman's using Whole Hog, but a D-Bomb's going to come out, and there's no cover, so Water Bottle and Hero Sandwich are going to go down. Now the tanks are going to have to run away, hopefully not get picked off, because that's going to end up with a really long stagger, especially if Vitamin D3 loses mech. That's not a situation that they can handle right now. And with only 2 minutes left, they need to make something happen soon to get this first phase.
Bomb coming in soon. Ult economy. Spicy boys are going to have
Yeah, the D.Va Bomb from Vitamin D3 is really what we're going to have to look out for. But the picks are still just coming out onto Rogers Warmers, both supports down, and a tank because of Matt. They need to either commit to a dive on Matt, they need to make sure that he dies, or they need to get a sniper and start out-sniping him. Right now, they're kind of doing a weird death ball dive mix. They're all just like walking up into his arrows, which isn't really working out for them.
And when you have two successful snipers shutting that down, the last thing you want is to be giving easy shots punched up.
Absolutely. Yep, and the D.Va Bomb does come out, doesn't get anything, and now Gluttony's out on his own. The rest of his team didn't go with him. Not sure why, but they kind of just let him out to dry. Now, the Goatman is on the Zarya, so that will help him, but only 30 seconds left. It needs to happen now, and with Vitamin D3 getting out and demeched, it's not looking great. It's not impossible, but yeah, ultimate economy is so heavily stacked in the Spicy Boys' favor that they can just start throwing ults and win the fight because there's just nothing, especially with Hero Sandwich, their only ultimate going down. It's going to be 3 solid picks, pushing back into the Warmer spawn. And the question is going to be if anyone can even get to the payload in time. Hey, George is going to get taken down by Matt. And it's not looking like anyone will even get to the payload. So, that's definitely a decisive game 1. Play of the game is going to go to Valiant in that Halloween skin. It's Thriller all night. The fun thing about this play of the game is he didn't use his ultimate, just good mechanical skills.
Alright, so commentator's choice for the next map. Ian, what are you feeling?
I am feeling, because we just did a payload, let's do a hybrid next, ease into 2CP lol. So let's go to Numbani.
Alright, sounds good. And Numbani, as we saw with Gibraltar, might be another one of those points where, or rather that first point, where it's so critical to get to that first point. It's difficult to take, difficult to hold, but once you have it, you're pretty much in the clear.
Yeah, it's definitely Numbani point A is, while all hybrids have a capture point that is like 2CP, I would say that Numbani is the most 2CP. It's very hard to overcome with the high ground advantage from the defense, but a couple mistakes made on the defensive side, and it's going to go right on over to the attack.
Now, it looked like Rogers Warmers was starting to solve some of the problems they were having with team play towards the end of last round.
Yeah, hopefully they figure out what they're doing in the rest of the matches. I would say the uh, team play needs to be a lot tighter. Their positioning needs to be with each other because
Mhm.
they were so spread out. They ended up getting picked off one by one. And the big thing I would say is composition. They were playing a weird mix of different comps, and they need to
Half
solidify
deathball,
into
little bit
one or
of
the other.
dive. Yeah, no, it seemed like they really could have done a better job working together in terms of both their picks and how they were grouping up.
Absolutely, I don't agree with a Roadhog playing in as the uh, taking up one of the DPS slots. I think
Mhm.
Genji would have done much better with the rest of that team, uh, because Roadhog has a lot of downfalls, especially in the feeding category,
Well,
giving ults, especially against two snipers.
it's just a lot of health that goes right into ult charge. And I thought you were on the money in terms of the Spicy Boys. I thought you were on the money in terms of talking about the verticality of Gibraltar, because it definitely did serve as a functional nerf for Hog. It seemed like he was spending a lot of time on the stairs and not really engaging in the fight. He was just getting into position.
Yeah, there's so much natural cover that it's so hard to get a hook in the first phase high ground, so that really didn't work out for them. It's going to be Vitamin D3 on the Roadhog now, though. Gozman is going to be on the Pharah. They're going to be playing that ball and chain combo with Soldier on the far high ground. No Ana, but they are going to have a far Mercy and a Zenyatta. There's going to be a Pharah from both teams. Matt is going to be the spicy Pharah, and he's going to have a Mercy as well. Oh yeah, dude is going to be healing him, but the Soldier damage is already causing him some trouble. But now, hey, Jorge has to run away. And the point presence is here from the Spicy Boys. They're just
Mhm.
all over this point. Craft Punk did get unmexed, but other than that, no picks have been gained from either side, but 2 ticks have been gotten for the Spicy Boys. Without getting any kills, they just exerted presence and are almost done capturing this point. Couple more picks, and that's going to be a full team kill. The Rogers Warmers needed to adapt their positioning much quicker. They needed to collapse onto the point before the first tick was gained, and
Mhm.
definitely by the second tick. It was only around halfway through the third tick that they ended up making the switch. And speaking of switches, Matt is now on the Bastion, which can be just so obnoxious to defend against, so we'll see how well it goes.
And it looks like they're at least in position to pop that pirate ship comp at the first sign of danger.
Yep, they have that ready, and there's no ultimates on the side of Rogers Warmers yet, especially with Gozen going down to 5 health. Gozeman could try and
Can he
get
get
a
away? Oh, and the
barrage, but it's not going to
Mercy
get any
out of
healing.
position.
Yeah, the Mercy died out of position. The Zenyatta did not heal the Goatsman. Water Bottle perhaps not getting the call out. The far needed healing. The awareness wasn't there, but the communication just doesn't seem to be coming through on Rogers Warmers. And that's going to be another very quick cap. 6 minutes going into the third phase of Nabani. I don't think I've ever seen that.
No, it appears we have a bit of a steamroll on our hands here, especially just because, if Rogers Warmers don't figure out how to confront and take on that Bastion, they're not going to be able to stop the momentum of the payload.
Yeah,
And
especially with their positioning the way it is, the hero sandwich just keeps getting caught out in front of a shield, which shouldn't happen, especially as a Mercy.
mhm.
Everyone spread out. The Reinhardt went forward, meanwhile Goatsman and Hey Jorge went backwards, so they need to be communicating where they're going earlier. Now, Water Bottle is going to pop Transform Matt's ult, but keep in mind that for a squishy, those shells will just kill. The Transcendence has no effect. Valkyrie is going to be out, keeping people alive, but so Supercharger, so that's going to cause some problems, especially with Gluttony going down already. Only a few meters left for this payload, and the picks just are not stopping. Rogers Warmers have yet to put up an actual fight on this map.
Well, in a lot of ways, the use of Bastion on top of the payload moving forward preys on exactly the issues that we were seeing with Rogers Warmer's team play. They weren't able to pull the coordination required to focus fire and burn the Bastion down, and when that happens, when you can't pull that off, you just end up getting melted.
Yeah, I want to see quicker adaptation from Rogers Warmers. Their positioning has been slow. Their comps have not been switching. Uh, they just their communication seems lackluster. Now, maybe this is something that they can attend to on their offense. While 4 minutes and 55 seconds is a ludicrous time to have left on Nimbani, just getting above overtime does give them a chance to win the game.
And one of the beauties of the game is that really anything can happen. You know, they're just as likely to pull it together as they are to have the same difficulty they've been having.
Yeah, this is due to the time bank system, anyone's game, unless both teams run out of time. So we'll see how the adjustments come in. It does look like we're going to have what is probably going to be almost a good comp, I'm going to say. Rogers Warmers are going to be playing the classic Deathball comp with Brigitte, Reinhardt, Zarya. Okay, and now with the adjustment of Gozman switching off of Roadhog and Hey Hey Jorge onto Soldier, I like this a lot. I think I would prefer Jorge to be on the Hanzo just because Dragon Strike Grav is the most powerful combination in the game at this moment. But otherwise, it's a very solid comp. Meanwhile, we're going to get memed on from the Spicy Boys as Torbjorn, true to his name, is Torbjorn.
Yep, just happens to be Torbjorn. Torbjorn and his daughter, you know, obviously setting up to defend the point. And we're seeing the triple support here for the first time.
Yeah, we're seeing triple support, solo tank. That being said, Brigitte is basically a tank.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so now the Rogers Warmers are rolling out and getting ready to go. And it does look like they're going to start taking the high ground. The only damage they can do from far away is Jorge, so they're really going to be committing everything into giving him the space necessary. This is a lot that they're leaving in his hands.
Indeed, and if his damage output is not able to meet the demand, it'll be interesting to see, you know, how they switch and progress as the game moves forward.
Yeah, so far, Jorge has been switching from target to target, so that damage focus isn't really coming out. Gluttony's going to get rezzed, and Jorge is going to flank, but still not too much getting accomplished. But this Torbjorn reliance might not work out for them in the end, as Gluttony is up on that turret, but is going to go down, and the ult is going to bring that turret to a level 3, so that's actually going to cause a lot of problems and end up in a team wipe. Almost. Jorge actually survives, but he'd give his positioning away. So if he gets picked now, that is terrible news for the rest of Warmers. So he's going to be in the back line. Meanwhile, Rogers Warmers are getting ready to go again. And I like this switch. Vitamin D3 is on the Junkrat. If they were on the high ground and had the Junkrat, that would have been great, because that would bring down the barrier immediately and allow them to get damage onto the point. Valiant killed himself somehow. Possibly a rocket onto Jorge. Meanwhile, the rest of the fight is on the point, but it's still not going well, as Junkrat is way too far back to be doing anything of value.
And it looks like, you know, as we've seen with Rogers Warmers before and again, they've been spreading out just a little bit too much, not really taking advantage of the synergies between their hero picks.
Yeah, not only not taking advantage of the synergies, but not taking advantage of Reinhardt's shield. It's there for a reason. It protects you.
He makes
and there was no one behind it, like time and time again. Now they're going to be rolling up again. Gluttony has Earth Shatter soon. They have Visor. I would like them to try and take some high ground, but it does look like they're focused on this turret and the Orisa, which I don't think is the correct target at the moment, as the shield is already down and Gluttony's swinging around, but for what? And why? Jorge is now visoring, looking to get some picks, but there's too many barriers. That is not going to get anything done. Almost gets on a Fui survives with only 5 health, but survives nonetheless. Supercharger and Valkyrie is out. This is going to be a hard stop to Warmers, as Spicy Boys really just showing basic stuff. Always works out in the end.
Yep, and you know, Spicy Boys really taking that back to basics approach. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. It's really just a fundamental level of play here that seems to be making the difference.
Yeah, fundamental as much as you can be with a Torbjorn on your team. But still, yeah, they're just babying a turret while the rest of their team stands around it. Now, currently, this Zarya is caught up way too far. Goatsman almost has Grav, though, so these ultimates, especially with Transcendence, could be what they need to push through They need to make sure they get a good grab because it's really going to rely on these tank play. And it's going to start with a good shatter. Craftpunk is low health, but not going to die. Visor's going to come out, though, and it's nanoed at that. Valiant is trying to get some picks, but Transcendence is going to keep most of them alive. Hero Sandwich is going to go down, though. That's not a mercy. And I think with those picks alone, this is going to be a full hold of Numbani.
Seems to be the case. I mean, as we go into the last 15 seconds of the game, it's looking like, apart from that Riptire, not much Rogers Warmers can do in terms of ults.
Yeah, especially with the Vitamin D3 being taken down during his tires. Tire is rolling around, but gets nothing, and that's going to be a 2-0.
All right, and the victory goes to the new Spicy Boys.
Shout out to Northeastern and their esports team, especially with Matt leading the charge, formerly top 500, and he's showing it. His different DPS switches have been so useful, and he plays every character well. It's a very good job to him and for the rest of the Spicy Boys to allow him that space, for the tanks to make that space, and for the healers to keep him up so that he can do all the crazy stuff he does.
And one of the most interesting things I think about these matchups that we've just seen is, there was nothing really flashy going on. They did come down and win and lose based on the fundamentals of play. It was back to basics. It was whether or not you could address some of the classic problems of Overwatch, i.e., what do you do when there's a bastion? What happens when a turret is stacked behind several barriers? And the Spicy Boys, were just throwing out those classic puzzles.
Yeah, and then Spicy Boys, like you said, it wasn't anything fancy. Their place of the games weren't ults. They didn't really have to stack ults because their mechanical skills were just so good that they went in and got picks just with left click. So that really speaks to how well their aim, mechanics, and strategies turned out. So it does look like we're going to get the next team set up in this bracket. Rogers Warmers do still have a chance. This is a double elim bracket and possibly a best of 5. Is that what the rules say?
Indeed. And we will be right back after a brief intermission.